Hello everyone, today's poem is 黄鹤楼送孟浩然之广陵 by Li Bai, a master to read by every Chinese kids. The most three popular and famous departing poems among the Tang poetry. Li Bai and Meng Haoran is very close friends. They know each other for quite a time when Li Bai wrote this poem in his 30. And when Li Bai heard Meng Haoran was going to the city Yangtze, and he tried to manage to get to the place黄鹤楼, which is at the Wuhan city today, and meet Meng Haoran here to see Meng Haoran living. They spent several days actually, and of course drinking, touring together, and then Li Bai write this poem. Meng Haoran was a very, very famous poet as well. He is the leading poet of the mountain, river, and farming field type of poems. And he was 12 years elder than Li Bai. And at this time, Meng Haoran was in his 40s, and he has been to the Chang'an city once, try to get the position in the central government, but he failed. So he should be not feeling very well at the moment, and that's the big picture for this poem. 黄鹤楼送孟浩然之广陵，李白。故人西辞黄鹤楼，烟花三月下扬州。孤帆远影碧空尽，唯见长江天际流。So just like the daily talks, so here actually I will focus on some of the words maybe confused you. 黄鹤楼 is a very famous high-rise building in Wuchang city or Wuhan city today. It's a very important port city on the Yangtze River, so there's so many poems written at this place, at this building, and this one is one of the most famous one, 黄鹤楼. And today the building is still there, but of course it's rebuilt. The very original one has been destroyed several times through the histories. 黄鹤楼is on top of the Snake Mountain, though the Yangtze River actually is flowing in between two mountains, Snake Mountain and Turtle Mountain, 龟山和蛇山. Though the 黄鹤楼 is on the northbound on the top of Snake Mountain. Chairman Mao has a very famous poet talking about this place as well. So the poem, the sentence is 龟蛇锁大江. So in this sentences, 龟 refers to the Turtle Mountain, and 蛇 refers to the Snake Mountain. So these two mountains, just like a lock the Yangtze River, 锁大江. So this is a place, it's a very unique place. It's a port, very important port city on the Yangtze River. 之广陵. 之 is the classic words, Asian words for going. So the title means at the place of 黄鹤楼, the high-rise building on the Snake Mountain, Li Bai seeing off Meng Haoran, who is going to Guangling, the Yangzhou city today. 故人西辞黄鹤楼. 故人, so this is refers to the Meng Haoran. They are the old acquaintance for quite some years. 西辞黄鹤楼. So he's toward the west, saying farewell to 黄鹤楼. So 黄鹤楼resembles or stands for the place, Wuhan city, or stands for Li Bai. And because Meng Haoran is going to Yangtze, which is down to the east, so he's facing to the west. 西辞 means saying farewell to the west. 烟花三月下扬州. So in the very most prosperous flower blossom season in the March, Meng Haoran is going down to Yangtze because he's along the Yangtze River. That means going down, 下扬州. That makes sense. And 烟花三月, here's a little thing should be take careful. 烟花 is not refers to a specific flower. It means the flowers looks like the smoke, which means the flower is so dense, so prosperous, so colorful, and you cannot distinguish the single flowers from the flowers. So it's just like the clouds, like the smoke. And most probably, I think it could be the peach blossom, and it's pink, red, and it's just like a little bit like the sakura, the Japanese sakura. It's so when it blossom in the springs, it's just like the clouds. All the trees is pink, looks like pink. There's no the green leaves didn't show up yet. And 3月, this is a lunar calendar. March, it's not like the today's calendar. So generally speaking, it's sort of the April time, and that's the later part of the spring. So the flowers in its most blossom status. So here I want to have some more own words for the March, for the springs. I'm a northerner, so for the northerner, Chinese northerner, the springtime is not a good time. It's dust, wind, and it's a little chill, cold, and also it's quite dry. The weather is quite dry. And in the south, because I spent my campus years along the Yangtze River, the spring is like the poem. It's so prosperous. The air is fresh. It's a little bit rains, and the flowers all blossom. Everywhere's flowers and so green. It's very fresh green, fresh flowers, and the spirit is make the people's spirits very high. That's the springs in the poem in any countries. But if you stays in the northern part of the China, the springs it's never looked that. So here I suppose when Li Bai write this poem, the season is a best season along the Yangtze River, and both of them are very high. But Meng Haoran is a little bit sad because he failed to get a position in the central government. He has to give up all his dreams, lifelong dreams, maybe. So he could be a little bit sad. 孤帆远影碧空尽，唯见长江天际流. The lonely sail goes far beyond in the clear blue skies, because in the Chinese mind, the the sky and the river or the sea meet at the very end, and it's hard to distinguish it's the sky or it's the sea surface or the river surface. So here, the sail lost in the sky actually means it's lost in the boundary somewhere around the boundary of the river and skies. 唯见长江天际流. So at last, the only thing I can see, Li Bai can see, is the Yangtze River is flowing on the boundary. 天际 is the boundary of the sky. Is flowing on the boundary of sky. So this also express the same feelings. The 碧空尽, 天际流. So at the boundary, the river boundary and sky boundaries, it's hard to distinguish where is the exact boundary it is. Just look like the sky looks like the river looks like the sky. And it's a very short and simple poem, so you can see that. And it's a departing poem, and it doesn't look so sad, but a little bit loneliness at the end. And it all describes the spirits is very high, because from the first and the second languages, 烟花三月, that's the most famous sentences and words for through the Chinese history. 烟花三月 give you a very high spirit sensations, and that's one of the technique to write bitterness and sad things, but you're starting with writing something very high spirited, very happy things. So this contrast will make the bitterness and sadness much more deeply. So, but here, even with a little bit contrast, 烟花三月 and lonely cell, so it's a little bit sadness or bitterness, but it's not so much. Let's see the other most famous poets on departings, so you can feel much better, have a better understanding on this one. 送杜少府之任蜀州 is a famous departing poem by Wang Bo. We have that video already. So the last two sentences is 无为在歧路，儿女共沾巾. It's talk direct. Don't weep when we're departing. And that's like a warning. It's not sadness, not bitterness. As far as you know that Wang Bo wrote this poem in his early years, around 20. So it's a youth. He know the departing is should be a sad something with sadness and bitterness, because in the Chinese thinking in the ancient time, 生离死别, so when you're departing alive is equally to the bitterness of death, because death is departing. The dead people depart with people alive. The alive people depart with the people at death. So the two alive people seeing each other living, they departed. The bitterness and sadness equally from the dead people living the people alive. But in his very young age, he knows that, but he cannot taste that. So he just write this his departing poem, 无为在歧路. So we never weep when we at the crossroads seeing each other off, say farewell. So that's just like the shouting, always encourage to each other. There's no bitterness or sadness at all, actually. Another departing poem, 渭城曲 by Wang Wei. We have that video as well. It's hard to tell this one is more famous or favorable or the Li Bai's one. So the most famous sentences in the 渭城曲，劝君更尽一杯酒，西出阳关无故人。So the writing technique is a little bit similar with Li Bai's poem about at 黄鹤楼。渭城曲 starting with some of the very delighted description of the scenarios or surroundings, very delighted. And then, because it's departing poems, he used the delighted situation to contrast the bitterness and sadness. So just feel it. 劝君更尽一杯酒，西出阳关无故人. So at the very beginning, it's very delighted and happy. And then when you think about departing, oh, forget it. Let's just drink one cup by one cup. And up this cup, when I'm going my way to the west, there's no acquaintance, no friends at all. It's the 生离死别, departing alive, or maybe they will never see each other again. So just imagine, this poem actually is written in the late years of Wang Wei, and in his own feelings, maybe it's a mixed feeling in Wang Wei's mind. The event is departing alive. The two friends is still alive, but it could be just like the departing with dead people, because they may never have the chance to see each other again. So when you compare these three poems together and have a little further explore on the background of the poet and situations, you will a bit by a bit get more close, a better understanding to the poems. So the most bitterness, most sadness, of course, is the 渭城曲, and that looks like the most delighted at the surface of the wordings. And Li Bai's poem, the poem today we talk about, he won't try to express the sadness, but actually we don't think it's too much. And it was told Li Bai was a little bit jealous on Meng Haoran's trip to Yangtze. It's a place like Shanghai today. It's a big metropolitan commercial city. The food, the beautiful girls, entertainment, everything is great. Li Bai is in his 30s, and he was just enjoying his best time of his life. Okay, let's have this poem again in the dialect of Shanxi, Qinqiang, and then finish this poem. 秦腔，黄鹤楼送孟浩然之扬州。李白，故人西辞黄鹤楼，烟花三月下扬州。孤帆远影碧空尽，唯见长江天际流。Okay, that's it. Bye bye.